The day began with silence so loud it felt cruel. In the middle of a bright, busy city, a Japanese billionaire stood alone on a sunlit sidewalk, invisible to everyone rushing past him. His tailored coat hung heavier than it should have, not because of its fabric, but because of the years of loss stitched into his life. This was a man who owned towers of glass and steel, yet on this morning, with the sky clear and traffic humming, he had nothing that truly belonged to him anymore. Before the story unfolds further, take a moment. If you believe kindness still matters and second chances can change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Grandma's Book. Your support helps keep stories like this alive. Kenji Morimoto had once been celebrated on magazine covers as a genius of discipline and vision. He built an empire from a small electronics workshop into a global company admired for precision and trust. But success had not prepared him for grief. In a single year, illness took his wife, a sudden accident took his only son, and a quiet betrayal took his company when trusted partners forced him out during his weakest moment. Money remained, but purpose vanished. On this clear morning, he walked without direction, letting the city decide where his feet would land, his thoughts circling memories he could not silence. The streets were alive with ordinary miracles. Vendors arranged fruit under the open sky, schoolchildren laughed as they crossed roads, and sunlight reflected off windows like scattered hope. Kenji felt none of it. He tried to ask for help in small ways, not for money, but for something human. He paused at a bank entrance, but the guards mistook him for a vagrant and turned away. He sat on a public bench, only to be asked to move along. Even when he entered a cafe to rest, the looks he received told him he was unwelcome. No one saw the man behind the tired eyes. Hunger eventually led him down a quieter street lined with modest shops. A small diner stood there, its windows clean, its door open to the daylight. Inside, the scent of fresh bread and tea drifted gently into the air. Kenji hesitated, his pride and exhaustion wrestling silently. He stepped inside, expecting the same cold dismissal he had faced all morning. Instead, something small and unexpected happened. A young waitress named Aiko Tanaka noticed him immediately. She was not rich, not powerful, and not important by the world's loud standards. She worked long daytime shifts, saving money to care for her aging grandmother, carrying her own quiet worries. But when she saw Kenji standing uncertainly near the entrance, she did not judge his worn shoes or his distant gaze. She simply greeted him with warmth, the kind that costs nothing and changes everything. That greeting did not fix his problems. It did not restore his company or return his family. But it cracked open a door inside him that had been sealed by grief. For the first time in months, Kenji felt seen. He sat by the window as sunlight touched the table, and for a few minutes, the world slowed. Aiko brought him tea without rushing, her kindness steady and unforced. She did not know who he was. She only knew he was a person who needed care. As the day moved on, Kenji remained there longer than he planned. He watched customers come and go, watched Aiko move between tables with patience despite her tired eyes. He learned through quiet observation that kindness was not loud. It lived in small gestures, in showing up, in choosing gentleness even when life was hard. Memories of his late wife returned, not as pain this time, but as warmth. She had once told him that true wealth was measured by how many lives you soften along the way. When Kenji finally stood to leave, the sun was high and the street outside glowed with life. Something inside him had shifted. He walked back into the city, but this time, he was not drifting. Over the following weeks, he returned to that diner often, not to be recognized, but to remember. He listened more, spoke less, and began quietly helping others the way he had been helped. He funded community kitchens without his name attached. He supported small businesses that treated people with dignity. And when the time came to reclaim his company, he did so not with revenge, but with a renewed sense of responsibility. Aiko never knew the full story until much later. By then, Kenji Morimoto was no longer the lonely man on the sidewalk. He was a man rebuilt by a single moment of kindness in the daylight, by a greeting that reminded him he still belonged to the W.